Hello, welcome to training module on developing IEP. The purpose of this training is to give you assistance on writing SMART IEP goals. When I was with VDOE and did on-site monitoring visit to over half of the divisions in the state of Virginia, I noticed that 75% of cases where divisions were found in non-compliance were based on IEP. And if we dig deeper, it was the IEP goals that were poorly written and not measurable. Goals are a fundamental part of an IEP, and if it is not well written, everything else in the IEP, which is a legal document, becomes suspect. You want SMART goals in your IEP to ensure compliance. It is important to understand that when developing SMART IEP goals, it is a process, and therefore it requires high level of thought before writing it down. Here are some examples of why your annual goals should be SMART goals. A SMART annual goal is a statement that identifies what knowledge, skills, and behaviors a student is expected to be able to demonstrate within the year during which the IEP will be in effect. SMART is an acronym. S stands for specific, M is for measurable, A is for use action words, R is for realistic and relevant, and T is for time limited. Specific goals target areas of academic achievement and functional performance. It includes clear descriptions of the knowledge and skills that will be taught and how the child's progress will be measured. Measurable means you can count or observe it. Measurable goals allow parents and teachers to know how much progress the child has made since the performance was last measured. With measurable goals, you will know when the child reaches the goal. There are three components that must be stated in measurable terms. A. Directions of behavior. B. By area of need. And C. Level of attainment. SMART IEPs use action words. SMART IEPs have realistic and relevant goals and objectives that address the child's unique needs that result from the disability. SMART IEP goal and objectives are time limited. Time limited goals and objectives enable you to monitor progress at regular intervals. Review the self-guided questions for each part of the SMART goal. These questions will guide you in developing the goal for the student. When writing a SMART goal, step 1 is the given. This is the condition. Specify the manner in which progress towards the goal occurs. The condition describes the specific resources that must be present for the student to reach the goal. The condition of the goal should relate to the behavior being measured. Step 2. Student will part. This is the behavior. Clearly identify the performance that is being monitored. It represents an action that can be closely observed or monitored. Step 3. With this is the criteria. Identify how much, how often, or to what standard the behavior must occur in order to demonstrate that the goal has been achieved. The goal criterion specifies the amount of growth that is expected. Step 4. By. This is the time frame. Specify the number of weeks or a certain date for completion. Here are the 4 steps in developing in the Virginia IEP system. Step 1 is condition. Step 2 is behavior. Step 3 is criterion. And step 4 is time frame. Here's an example of a SMART goal in math with steps 1, 2, 3, and 4. Here's an example of a SMART goal in reading with step 1, 2, 3, and 4. Here's an example of a SMART goal in behavior goal with step 1, 2, 3, and 4. Here's a sample of what monitoring progress looks like on the Virginia IEP system. Here's another part of monitoring progress that pertains to post-secondary goal. Here's another sample of the monitoring progress. Think about how your progress will be measured and monitored. Check off each blank. Remember to collect and save the documentations for audit purposes and parental or administrative review. Monitoring progress has the following codes: SP for sufficient progress, ES for emerging skills, M for mastered, IP for insufficient progress, and NI not instruction. Here are 3 key questions when prioritizing goals. 1. What is preventing the student from participating in a less restrictive environment and or from progressing in the general education curriculum? 2. What foundation skill needs cross multiple content areas and settings? And third, how many goals are reasonable given the student's abilities and rate of progress? When designing goals, work backwards with the following goal: schedule, method, criteria period, and criteria. Here's a sample goal template. The left part is what the student is responsible for, and the right part is what the adult will observe. The criteria is how well must the student perform and over what period of time. They include concepts such as accuracy, duration, frequency, speed, distance, number of trials, and time frame. Duration is how long a behavior lasts. Frequency is how often a behavior occurs. Latency is the length of time between stimuli and response. An interval and percentage of time a behavior occurs. Think about criteria. Does it pass common sense and legal scrutiny? After all, the goal of Tommy will successfully cross the street at the crosswalk without staff assistance 80% of the time. How wise is that percentage based on that goal? Here are an example of what is not measurable and what is measurable. If you notice, the measurable column has specific details. Here's a narrative goal template. The example says, given a 4-function calculator, Sue will solve 10 one-step word problems using addition and subtraction with 90% accuracy on 3 consecutive weekly trials as evaluated by scoring of teacher-made assessment every 2 weeks. So in summary, be sure that each goal is properly aligned with the present level of performance in the IEP. There must be a clear relationship between identified needs, annual goals, and services. Be sure the amount of progress projected in the goal is reasonable. Take into account the student's ability and assume appropriate and effective individualized instruction. Remember, do not repeat the same goal year after year. Every goal must have an observable behavior and specific criterion against which it can be assessed. Measure the student's progress toward the goal and use progress data that has been collected to update the present level of performance for the following year. Thank you for taking the time to review the module. I hope this has been helpful as you work on developing SMART IEP goals. Thank you.